Nebraska Cornhuskers? Being a Nebraska fan is like being married to your high school sweetheart. No matter how many years pass, you're never walking away. These fans practically wrote the book on loyalty. Memorial Stadium has sold out every game since 1962. Rain, shine, wins, losses, new coaches, new conferences. It doesn't matter. They'll pack 85,000 seats whether the Huskers are 12-0 or 4-8, and they're polite about it too. Nebraska fans are so famously nice they'll clap for the team that just stomped them. Lose by 30? They'll shake your hand, wish you safe travels, and invite you back next year. Why the unwavering devotion? History. 5 national titles, 3 Heisman winners, Johnny Rodgers, Mike Rozier, Eric Crouch, and the Black Shirts defense that once terrorized Big 8 quarterbacks every Saturday. Old-timers still argue the 1995 Huskers were the best college team ever. Game days here feel like a statewide family reunion. Small towns empty out, shops close, and the tunnel walk kicks off as the whole stadium screams Husker power in unison. The entire state turns scarlet. Even grandma's yelling at the TV with a foam finger in hand. Sure, Nebraska hasn't been a true powerhouse in years, but you'd never know it on a fall Saturday. They still grill, chant, and sing Hail Varsity like it's 1995 all over again. Ask any Husker fan when the glory days will return, and they'll swear, next year's the year. And they really mean it. Wisconsin Badgers. You've got to admire Wisconsin fans. It takes real dedication to party this hard and still sing every word of On Wisconsin. Badger fans might be the most fun-loving crew in college football. Game day in Madison is a red and white carnival. Hours of tailgating, bratwurst grilling, and then 80,000 fans packed into Camp Randall Stadium. When the fourth quarter hits and jump around blasts, the whole place bounces like one giant trampoline. But it's not just about beer and noise. They've got the history to back it up. 2 Heisman winners, Alan Ameche and Ron Dane, 14 conference titles, and 22 straight winning seasons. The longest streak in the Power 5. Even when they're not national champs, they carry themselves like they could be. Nothing fuels them more than beating Minnesota. The battle for Paul Bunyan's axe is old, petty, and glorious. If you think jump around is loud, wait until they swing that axe after a win. It's a holiday in Wisconsin, and they're superstitious too. Miss jump around? Bad luck for a week. Lose the axe? Pure misery until next year. Only Wisconsin fans can pound cheese curds, bounce and sink, and still brag politely. Minnesota Golden Gophers. Minnesota fans are the nicest underdogs you'll ever meet, and they know it. They've been playing football since 1882, and once ruled the sport with 7 national titles, 3 of them back-to-back-to-back in the 1930s, a streak nobody's matched since. But since 1960, not so much. And yet Gopher fans keep showing up in maroon and gold, waving "Sky you ma" like it's still 1935. They've got trophy games for days. Paul Bunyan's axe against Wisconsin, the Little Brown Jug with Michigan, and even the Floyd of Rosedale with Iowa, where they once bet an actual hog on the outcome. Only Minnesota could make rivalry trophies feel like a county fair prize. What really makes them stand out is how they handle heartbreak. Lose the axe? Row the boat. Get steamrolled by Michigan? Row the boat. They just keep rowing no matter how rough the water gets. PJ Flex turned that motto into his whole identity, and the fans can't get enough. They love believing the boat's unsinkable, even if it springs a leak every November. And the irony? They've got more rivalry trophies than anyone, but they don't win most of them lately. Still, they'll hand you a snow shovel and a beer and tell you next year's the year. Minnesota fans are forever rowing, and they'll ski you ma all the way down with a smile. Northwestern Wildcats? Northwestern fans are the brainiacs of the Big Ten, and they wear that like a badge of honor. They know their football team isn't Ohio State or Michigan, and they don't care. These fans will pull out graduation rate stats faster than win-loss records, and honestly, that's kind of refreshing. Their Wildcats have been playing since 1882 and helped found the Big Ten, which is funny because half the conference still acts like they're new here. They've won 8 conference titles from the dusty days of the 1930s to that surprise run in the 90s that made everyone double-check the standings. When they pull off an upset, like that legendary 17-15 win over number 2 Notre Dame in 1995, they treat it like a thesis defense that stunned the whole room. The fan base is small. Ryan Field barely holds 47,000, but it's mighty. They'll tell you straight up, sure, we might not fill the place every Saturday, but we're smart enough to know when to pick our battles. And that purple? It sticks out even when the seats don't. The quirk is they lean into the nerds with spirit vibe. They'll chant, "Go you Northwestern," with the same passion they'd bring to a law school final. Iowa Hawkeyes. They've been playing since 1889 and have 5 national titles tucked away. But what really makes them stand out is their heart. The Kinnick Wave is hands down the best tradition in college football in Mena. 70,000 people turning to wave at kids in the hospital next door. You can't hate that. But once the wave is done, buckle up. Kinnick gets loud, corn-fed, and a little terrifying. Iowa fans tailgate like it's a state fair, family tents, local beer, brats, then pack the stadium and scream for defense like it's the only language they know. And sometimes it is. Ask any Hawkeye fan what keeps them up at night, and they'll tell you, the offense. Strong D, physical line, but when it's third and long, they're all side-eyeing the playbook. They're polite about it, though, until you bring up Minnesota or Nebraska. Those rivalries mean everything. Beat the Huskers, keep the axe away from Minnesota, life is good. Lose them? That's the winter ruined. The irony? They're all about Midwestern hospitality, but take wrestling more seriously than half their football games. And that's saying something. Iowa fans are friendly, fierce, and waving. Just don't expect them to score 40 while they're at it. Purdue Boilermakers. Purdue fans are basically the Big Ten's lovable party crashers, and they live for it. You want your championship run to go smoothly? Better hope you're not playing the Boilermakers in November. Purdue has made a whole identity out of spoiling dreams. Just ask Michigan. That 1976 upset still makes their fans wake up sweating. They've got 12 conference titles, but these days they're more famous for surprise upsets and weird engineering pride than for loading the trophy case. They'll brag about Drew Brees every chance they get, and honestly, fair enough. Quarterback U is a solid flex when you've got his stats on your side, but here's the thing, they're obsessed with that train. The Boilermaker special is a literal Victorian locomotive that shows up on game days like it just rolled out of a museum. And the human mascot? That square-jawed, slightly haunted-looking Purdue Pete is nightmare fuel with a hard hat. They know they're underdogs. They like it that way. They'll wave their engineering degrees at you, then laugh when your playoff hopes derail in Ross Aid. Indiana Hoosiers. Let's be honest, this is a basketball school through and through. Hoosier football fans are more like patient spectators waiting for the next big tip-off. Their football team's been around since 1887, but has exactly one Big Ten title to its name. And that was back in 1945. Still, give them credit. They show up in Bloomington every fall, pack Memorial Stadium with 52,000 hopefuls, and cheer like it's the Final Four, just with fewer banners to point at. When they do land a bowl game, it's a cause for a full parade. 12 bowl trips in program history might not sound like much, but for Indiana, that's progress you can actually measure. They've got their traditions too, mainly the old oak and bucket rivalry with Purdue. Win that, and Hoosier fans get bragging rights for months, acting like they just knocked off Duke in March. The funny thing is, they've started to believe. Recent seasons and a few gutsy quarterbacks have sparked real hope. You'll hear them say, "This might be the year," like they haven't said it every season since Bobby Knight roamed the court next door. They're easy to root for because they're harmless. No crazy trash talk, no wild expectations. Just some good Midwestern folks watching football like it's an appetizer for hoop season. Maryland Terrapins. Maryland fans are pure East Coast chaos trapped in the Big Ten, and they wouldn't have it any other way. These folks bring Baltimore, D.C. attitude to a mostly Midwest league, and it shows. They're loud, loyal, and a little unpredictable. Just ask anyone who's ever seen those flag-based uniforms. Depending on who you ask, they're either iconic or look like a paint factory exploded on the field. Their Terp pride runs deep, though. They've got one national championship banner from 1953, a handful of ACC titles, and the bragging rights for pulling off one of college football's greatest comebacks. That wild 1984 Miami game where they erased a 31-point halftime hole to win 42-40. That's peak Maryland. You think they're down for good, then they come back swinging. They've got rivalries with Virginia and West Virginia that still get them fired up, even if conference realignment tried to kill the vibe. These days, they're still figuring out how to fit in with the Big Ten's cornfields and polite tailgates, but you better believe they're blasting go-go music in the parking lot either way. Funny thing is, for all the flash and fight, the Terps don't always pack out Secu Stadium, but the ones who show up, they bleed red, white, black, and gold like it's a birthright. Maryland fans are messy, proud, and forever waving that wild flag. Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Being a Rutgers fan is like being first in line, and still ending up last. They'll remind you every chance they get that Rutgers played the very first college football game back in 1869 and technically won the first national title. It's true, they beat Princeton 6-4 before helmets were a thing, and honestly, good for them. Fast forward 150 years and Rutgers football has mostly been a lesson in patience. They've bounced around conferences, landed in the Big Ten in 2014, and pretty much became the conference's lovable underdog overnight. One conference title in 2012. A few bowl wins here and there. Still, you can't knock the fans for sticking it out. They pack Eschai Stadium, they tailgate with Jersey attitude, And they hold out hope that Greg Schiano will turn things around like he did back in the Ray Rice days. When they beat Michigan for their first Big Ten win, they celebrated like they just won a Rose Bowl. Their quirk? They want respect, but they'll also remind you they invented college football, which feels like telling Alabama fans you built the first TV. It's true, but what's on it now? Rutgers fans are tough, proud, and clinging to that 1869 flex. Washington Huskies. Spend 5 minutes with a Washington fan and you'll hear two things: how beautiful Husky Stadium is, and how much they can't stand Oregon. Seriously, these fans are the perfect Pacific Northwest mix. Calm, polite, outdoorsy, until you say Ducks. Then they turn into walking hate tweets, and they're proud of it. But it's not all rivalry rage. Washington football actually backs it up. They've got a history of winning, big bowl appearances, conference crowns, and a stadium that might be the prettiest in the country, right on the water, echoing with 70,000 purple-clad fans who look laid back until kickoff. Their thing is balance. They'll sip local craft beer at a tailgate, then scream their lungs out about Oregon's fake success. They'll brag about their Apple Cup dominance, their Rose Bowls, and remind you that their hate for the Ducks is a family tradition. The funny part? For all their laid-back Pacific vibe, they crave chaos when the Ducks roll in. Calm Husky fan? Not during rivalry week. That polite Seattle nice flips into pure Seattle savage. So yeah, Washington fans are chill, unless you're in green and yellow. Oregon fans. Oregon fans are college football's peacocks. Bright, loud, and impossible to ignore. They've got Nike money pumping through their veins, endless uniforms nobody can keep track of, and they strut into every season acting like the whole sport runs on neon green. And to be fair, for a while it kinda did. From the pick in '94 that wrecked Washington's season to Marcus Mariota hoisting the Heisman in 2014, the Ducks turned Autzen Stadium into a neon-lit house of pain. They're proud, no question. Conference titles, big bowl games, high-octane offenses dropping 6,000 yards like it's nothing. And just when you think they'll tone it down, they show up with another jersey combo so bright it makes your eyes water on national TV. But here's the thing. Oregon fans can be a little smug about it. They'll remind you they broke USC's stranglehold. They'll tell you Chip Kelly reinvented offense, and they'll talk your ear off about that perfect Big Ten debut. Because why not? The quirk? They attract bandwagon fans like moths to a glowing O. But mixed in with the neon newcomers are diehards who sat through years when Autzen was half empty. Oregon fans, part diehard, part hype train, and always ready to blind you with the next jersey drop. UCLA Bruins. UCLA fans are like a chill beach day. Sunny, casual, and sometimes they forget to show up. It's not that they don't care, but this is LA. The beach is calling, traffic is brutal, and many are already counting down to basketball season. When they do hit the Rose Bowl, it's with laid-back California vibes, blue and gold, sun hats, and just enough noise to remind USC they still hate them. Historically, UCLA football's no joke. A national title in 1954, a Heisman from Gary Beeben in '67, and a golden era in the '80s and '90s made them more than a basketball school. Recently, Chip Kelly brought them back to relevance with back-to-back winning seasons in 2021 and 2022. Their biggest flex? The USC rivalry, Hollywood versus Westwood. When they beat the Trojans, it's a massive celebration. The irony? They want respect, but half the time they're debating basketball lineups instead. USC Trojans. USC fans are college football's main character. Just ask them, they'll tell you. They strut into every season convinced the spotlight belongs in LA, draped in cardinal and gold like it's a royal robe. And honestly, history's on their side. 7 Heisman winners, countless national titles, and a Hollywood pipeline of stars. From O.J. Simpson to Reggie Bush, they're stacked with trophies and drama. Bring up any decade and a USC fan will list every championship and Rose Bowl parade like it just happened last Saturday. Their favorite hobby? Reminding South Carolina who the real USC is, which never gets old for them. But here's the twist. For a fan base so full of swagger, they have a love-hate thing with their own team. One bad loss and they're ready to fire everyone in Heritage Hall. One big win and they'll plan a dynasty run by Monday. Their quirks? They love to flaunt the Hollywood glitz but forget to show up if the season goes sideways. The Coliseum's half empty when they're losing, packed with celebs when they're winning. And that's classic LA. Loyalty's real, but so is the freeway traffic and a beach day. They might brag too much, they might panic too fast, but they will remind you who ran college football before you were born. Michigan State Spartans. Michigan State fans are college football's permanent little brother, and they wear it like armor. Blame Michigan. Nothing fires up a Spartan like a maize and blue logo. They live to remind you about that one-time time they stunned the Wolverines. And they'll bring it up every fall until they do it again. But MSU's more than rivalry salt. They've got 6 national titles, Rose Bowls, and a 1966 team that made history twice, on the field and breaking racial barriers. They're gritty, loyal, loud, and a bit petty. Quirk? If they beat you, they won't shut up. If they lose. Next year, hypocrisy? They claim underdog status but brag about upending Ohio State and USC twice each. Penn State, Nittany Lions? Penn State fans are college football's loyal cult, dressed in white, screaming for 60 minutes and ready to defend their pride at 3 a.m. on Twitter. The whiteout alone makes Beaver Stadium bucket list territory. Over 100,000 people all in white chanting, "We are until your eardrums give up." They love it, and they should. Penn State's legacy is real. 2 national championships, 13 undefeated seasons, over 900 wins, and a history of sending legends like John Cappelletti and Franco Harris to the NFL. But talk to a Penn State fan long enough and you'll realize they don't just watch football, they live it. The ice cream? Creamery pride is serious business here. The superstition? Off the charts. They'll swear wearing the same socks on game day is what kept that 2016 Big Ten run alive. The quirk? They're defensive about everything. One bad call and they'll spend a week explaining why the refs have it out for them. One online jab and suddenly you're getting a history lesson, complete with stats from 1982. Love them or not, they pack Beaver Stadium through thick and thin, and they'll never let you forget who really invented the whiteout. Illinois fighting Illini. Illinois fans are Big Ten football's seasonal workers. They clock in when it's good, disappear when it's not. Once upon a time, the Illini ruled the field. 5 national titles, 15 Big Ten crowns, and legends like Red Grange, the galloping ghost himself, sprinting into history books. But these days, the orange and blue show up loud for a big win like the 2024 Citrus Bowl, then ghost the stadium the moment the scoreboard goes south. Quirk? They'll brag about Grange to anyone who listens but vanish into the cornfields if they're 4-8 by November. The irony? They swear they're a sleeping giant, but the nap's pushing 70 years. Illinois fans, historic when they want to be, invisible when they don't. Michigan Wolverines. Michigan fans are the self-proclaimed kings of college football, and they'll make sure you hear it every 5 seconds. With more all-time wins, 12 national titles, 45 Big Ten crowns, and the Big House, their numbers are hard to argue with. The Victors is their anthem, and ask about Heisman's, and you'll hear about Tom Harmon, Desmond Howard's pose, and Charles Woodson, the only defensive player to win it. But nothing matters more than the game. Beating Ohio State is their ultimate victory. They'll talk 2023 like they reinvented football. Sure, they claim to be underdogs, but their arrogance is on Bama's level, even if their modern-era trophies don't quite match up. Mention it, and expect a lecture on Bo Schembechler. Michigan fans? Loud, proud, and convinced college football begins and ends in Ann Arbor. Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State fans are college football's loudest hype squad, and they make sure you never forget it. Everything about the Buckeyes screams big stage. 8 national titles, 41 conference crowns, 7 Heismans, and don't skip the "the." Just ask Archie Griffin, the only 2-time Heisman winner. Or check out the Horseshoe, where 100,000 fans chant OHIO like it's gospel. Their world revolves around the game. That November clash with Michigan. Win it? Life's perfect. Lose? Meltdown. They swear they're title-bound every year. And honestly, 5 playoff trips say they're not bluffing. They'll brag about Woody Hayes in 2002, then defend every stumble since. Love them or hate them, they'll pack the shoe every fall Saturday and spell it out for you, letter by letter. And folks, that's every Big Ten fan base in college football. Now it's your turn. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and drop a comment telling us which video we should do next. We'll see you in the next one on CFB Almanac channel.